Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adrian, and in today's video, I wanted to discuss the books that I read during the month of June and maybe talk about my plans for July a little bit. But first, let's get into the stats of what I read during this past month. I read 13 total books, equaling a total of 4,729 pages. My average star rating was 3.85, which I feel like is a little low for me considering I am a feral 5-star rater. I rate a lot of books 5 stars. Okay, don't talk about it. My genre breakdown, I read 7 fantasy books, 6 romance books. 2 of those romance books were YA romances. I read 2 books physically. I read 7 books on audio. I read 3 books by immersion reading, and I read 1 book on my Kindle. My favorite book of the month was Problematic Summer Romance, followed very closely by Metal Slinger. My least favorite of the month would probably be Silverleaf Rapids. Actually, no. I think my least favorite of the month was The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Let's talk about it. The first book I read this month was All Systems Red. It is the first book in the Murderbot series. I rated it 3 stars. I think it was realistically like a 3.25, 3.5 area. It was pretty good. I just it was slow and it's pretty short, and I personally feel like it's hard to rate short books any higher than like a 3.5. I don't know if I want to continue the series. Like, it was a really easy listen. I listened to it on audio because I've heard the audios are really good. But, like, I don't know. It just kind of felt like nothing happened. Wasn't bad. The next book I finished was Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. I gave this book 5 stars. I thought it was phenomenal. I had such a good time reading it. My jaw was on the literal ground. This is the book that I technically read on my Kindle. I read it as an ARC copy, and then I loved it so much I had to hop on over to Pango Books and buy a physical copy for myself. This copy that I have here is like the indie published version. I just I don't know. It's like one of those books where like kind of nothing happened. Like there's a part of here that's pretty slow, but I had so much fun with it. I really like our main characters, and I personally like a fantasy book where like pretty much nothing happens. I think it's realistic. Like there's a scene in here where they go to like this cabin and just like eat a dinner with this family, and I think stuff like that's really realistic. I will say though, the beginning and the end of this book are definitely where it's at. The beginning is giving like pirates. There's kind of heist elements. It's dangerous. It was really good. I loved the sea setting. I thought that was so fun, so very unique, honestly. And then the ending was crazy. So, would definitely recommend Metal Slinger. After that, I read Silverleaf Rapids by Jodie Thomas. This is technically a prequel to Ransom Canyon, and I have not read or watched Ransom Canyon, but I was lucky enough to get a copy of Silverleaf Rapids as a advanced listener's copy. So I listened to it, and I will say that the audiobook was really well done. I just personally rated it 3 stars because I didn't feel super attached to the story. I think, though, that if you have read Ransom Canyon and you want more of that story, it would be worth checking out. Like I said, I thought it was incredibly well done. The story was good. It's just I personally I wasn't really invested in it. And like I said, I think that's only because I have no background knowledge on any of these characters. After that, I read You Have a Match by Emma Lord. This is a YA rom-com set at a summer camp. Basically, this girl, like at her school, they take a ancestry.com style test, and her best friend is hoping that he can find his match, like some of his family, but actually she finds a long lost sister. That's not a spoiler, by the way. That's like literally in the blurb, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's literally in the blurb, so don't come at me. But the story was just really cute. I worked at a summer camp, so I thought the vibes were immaculate. It reminded me so much of what I loved about summer camp. And the romance was pretty cute. There was like a minor love triangle that I liked. And I think I rated this 4 stars. Let me look. Yeah, I rated this book 4 stars. Like I said, I thought it was pretty good. I don't think it would be a book for everybody, but if you're looking just for like an easy summery romance read, or hear me out, if you enjoy summer camp, I think this is a book you could enjoy. Next, I picked up The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I have to be honest, I rated this only 3 stars. I wasn't super impressed with it. I kind of think that Rachel Gillig just isn't for me. I wasn't super impressed with One Dark Window and Two Tisted Crowns either. Like, they were good, but I don't think for me they lived up to the hype. This book was okay. I just personally didn't find the romance very believable, and like I thought the story was just okay. And I personally also saw the ending coming. Like every review I read says that the ending is shocking and crazy, and I'm like, it's just not though. Um, I don't know. I could get into it later at a later time if any of you care as to why this book didn't necessarily like, change my life like it has literally everybody else's. But yeah, I definitely would still recommend it. I literally every single person I know other than myself, sorry, other than myself has really enjoyed this. I just think that once again, Rachel Gillig might not be for me. I don't know yet if I will read the next book in the series. It's good, and I like some of the characters, obviously, like the gargoyle, but I don't know if I'm invested enough. Oh, also, there's a spicy scene in this book that gave me the ick so bad I almost had to stop reading and like DNF, which is crazy, but it was so cringy in my opinion. I'm sorry, but after that, though, I picked up Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. This might be my new favorite Ali Hazelwood book. I ate this up. It's age gap, it's summer, it's drama. Like, it is just so good. I was giggling and kicking my feet the literal whole entire time I read this. I I want to reread it already, and I don't usually do that. Like, sometimes if I reread, I, wait a couple of years. This one, the night I finished it, I felt like I needed to just wake up the next morning and start it again. So, this book is one of my June reads that I would absolutely recommend. I just think it's so good. And the yearning, they were down bad. But don't let the age gap fool you. I think it was well done. I think that it was classy. Like sometimes age gap, you're like, I don't know about that one. This one, personally, I thought was okay. Yeah, I don't know. Highly recommend. After that, I read The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Dinneman. This is book 5, I think, of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. This was a 5-star read for me. My husband and I have been listening to these on our drive to and from work recently, just like the past couple of months, and we both loved it. This one was so good. It was so emotional. It was so action packed. Literally, so much happens. The side characters really, really stepped up in this one. And honestly, if you haven't tried Dungeon Crawler Carl, I would highly recommend. But if you're going to read them, I would say you almost have to do the audio. Jeff Hayes and his team at Sound Booth Studios, they do a phenomenal job with these audiobooks, and they are so fun to listen to. Anywho, that's Dungeon Crawler Carl. Like I said, can't say much more because it is the 5th book in a series, but you should definitely check it out. After that, I picked up A First Time for Everything by K.L. Walther. I love this author. She wrote one of my all-time favorite books. That book is The Summer of Broken Rules. That sounds right, but it also doesn't sound right. It's literally right behind me. Yeah, The Summer of Broken Rules. I don't know why I got so confused there. But this book is like kind of a continuation of that book in a way. Wit and Bear from The Summer of Broken Rules appear in this book, which is the best part of this story, in my opinion. But this story is basically about a girl. Her name is Maddie. Mads. She goes by Mads. Mads' brother just recently got engaged. So basically, one night while the bridesmaids are playing a game of truth or dare, it is revealed that Mads has never really gone on a date or been kissed. So the bridesmaids concoct a scheme to try and get her to go on these different dates with different people, set her up. And it's just so fun, so crazy. I think I rated it 4 stars. It was really good. But like I said, I do think that Wit and Mare are the best part of this book. Obviously, still a good book on its own. But for me, I loved seeing the cameos of my favorite characters. After that, I read the first book in the Magnolia Park series by Jessa Hastings. I don't know how I feel about this book. I rated it 4 stars. It's like one of those books that like is low key addicting to the point that like I feel like I literally couldn't put it down, but also I hated reading it. Like it was just so toxic and it didn't make any sense to me, but I was eating the drama up. It was very much giving Gossip Girl, like a lot of people probably have told you before. It was very much giving, I don't even know what else it was giving. It really truly is just giving Gossip Girl. But like I said, it was good, but it wasn't great. I don't know. And the fact that people say this is the worst book in the series, but I still loved it, I really think that the rest of the series has have very high potential for me personally. I will say though, while we're here on the subject of Jessa Hastings, I do want to point out that I think some of the stuff she said recently is a little bit crazy. And I also just want to go ahead and address that I personally don't know yet how I feel about the matter as far as like whether or not I'm going to continue to support her. I read Conditions of Will a couple of months ago, like maybe 2, and that book was littered with typos, like to the point that it was almost unreadable for me. I thought the story was great, and that's kind of how I felt about Magnolia Parks too. Like I enjoy her writing. She literally writes the way that my brain thinks, but I just don't know that I can get behind her as an author, which makes me like I don't know. I just don't know where I stand if I'm being honest. Like I think I kind of want to take the J.K. Rowling approach. I'm still obviously love Harry Potter. Still probably gonna love and read Magnolia Parks and the other books of hers that I own, but I don't think I will be buying anything new in the future. I think my plan is to continue to buy things secondhand if I want to continue with the series. But to each their own, please do whatever's best for you and your mental health, and also just stay aware because sometimes people are just a little crazy. They're going to say and do crazy things. You can't control everybody, obviously, but also you don't have to let it affect you. So, but anywho, Magnolia Parks rated it 4 stars. Really want to continue with the rest of the series, I think. Don't know how I feel about Jessa. After that, I read Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. This is one of those books that I rated it 4, I think, on Goodreads, but like it's technically a 3.5 star read for me. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I have only read 5, I think, of Brandon Sanderson's main works right now, and I will say of the works that I have read, this is my least favorite. I found myself being confused and bored a lot while reading this book. But then obviously, like, it's Brandon Sanderson, so it's still good, still literally crazy. There were parts in this book that I was super invested in. Like, I really, really care about what's happening in Elantris. But then, I don't know, a lot of the side stuff was just kind of, I don't know. This is one of those books that is so hard for me to talk about because obviously I love Brandon Sanderson, love his works. I enjoyed the story. I just don't think this is his best work. But it's also his first work. So the fact that it's still really good and it was his first ever published works. After that, I read The Emperor's Soul and The Hope of Elantris. Both appear in the Arcanum Unbounded. These are short stories that they're like a part of the Elantris world. The Hope of Elantris is really short. It's like literally only 25 pages, I think. It was good. I probably wouldn't reread it again. I thought it was really cute. I thought the postscript was the best part of the story, which is crazy because it's not even a part of the actual story. But I do think it's worth a read if you're reading the Cosmere for the first time. I thought it was cute. It kind of shows us where our characters are now, and I really appreciated that. I will say, however, though, The Emperor's Soul is phenomenal. It is a little over 100 pages, I think, and it is such a complete and thought out and climactic and crazy story for literally being so short. It blew my mind, and it's one of those stories that, like, I genuinely wish it was longer. I think it has its purpose being this short, obviously, but I think that there is still so much you could explore in this world and with these characters, and I would love to see Brandon return to the world of the Emperor's Soul. That was a 4 stars for me. Once again, I find it hard to rate novellas higher than a 4, but I think it's technically a 5. Like, it's really, really good. Last but not least, I read The Summer in the City by Alex Astor. This book and I have a weird relationship. I think on Goodreads I rated it a 3. I would say it's more like a 3.8. Like, it's almost a 4, but the writing was just so cringy for me that I, like, in my good graces, cannot rate it higher than a 3 on Goodreads. I'm sorry. The literal only way I could get through this book was by listening to the audiobook. The story and the plot really had, like, it really had me. It gripped me, pulled me in. But the writing, I only read physically the first 30 pages, I want to say, maybe. And I almost had to DNF this book. But I'm really glad I didn't. I really liked the story. I love the New York setting. I really liked our couple. I think that I have a couple of issues with them, but overall, I really liked them. But if I had tried to physically read this book, no, I don't think I could have done it. I don't think I could have done it. But I will say I do recommend this book. I thought it was an easy read. It's a little under 300 pages. It was pretty easy, pretty quick. The audiobook, too, was phenomenal in my opinion. I'm an audiobook girly. I love audiobooks. And this is one of those that I would recommend giving a listen, especially if you're like me and you try physically reading it and it's just not working for you. I do think this story is worth continuing. Okay, as far as July is concerned, I think I'm going to just go ahead and put a graphic of my TBR right here so that I don't have to go and grab every single book. But I have a couple of books kind of on my radar. I still need to read Ashley Poston's new book. Really want to read All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata this summer. My family loves visiting Pagosa Springs, so I think it'd be fun to read that book maybe while we're there. I really need to get working on my Brandon Sanderson if I'm going to have it all complete by December. And then I have a couple of just like fillers in here just in case I need to like switch up my genres a couple of times. But I am a mood reader like everyone else, I feel like. So we'll kind of have to see what happens. But as of right now, this at least is the plan. So, but anywho, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for sticking around. If you made it this far, let me know what you read in June. Let me know what you plan to read in July, and I'll catch you next time.